Um, Workflows is another issue. Sometimes we don't even define how we're supposed to work. I mean, you need to sit down together, right? And decide, okay, how should we work? What's the work process look like? If you don't have that documented and who does what, you're going to have a problem. So a lot of times the workflows are too detailed. So again, back to the CMMS, sometimes we just document how to do things in CMMS. Well, now you're talking about how to do something in a tool, which is relevant, but it's not the key focus. You need to decide on what people are supposed to do and what they're supposed to complete. And I'll show you some examples how we've done this. It can be done 100 different ways, but hopefully it can be helpful. Accountable party for each task is very important in the workflows, which is often missing. Sometimes job descriptions do not match the workflow. So think about this. If you have a workflow with who's going to do what in that workflow, of course, then you have a job description automatically coming out of your workflow, because it will tell you all the tasks a role should do. And sometimes those are mismatched, and that's very confusing. But here's the overall level 1 workflow is overview. So it says identify work. The next box goes to prioritize. Is it emergency? Yes, no. If it's not an emergency, we prioritize and approve the request. We plan work, we schedule work, we execute work, we record, and then we continuously improve from our history. It's basically the circle, right? And then we have backlog management. That's a side process that's going on. And if you have emergency work, we basically skip the planning and scheduling. So now that's the overview of just kind of the general idea of how we do work. So that's level 1. Level 2 is then a little more in detail. How do we do each one? This is also a bit hard to read, I know that, but here's the scheduling work. And you see the green boxes are tasks. It doesn't matter what they say at this point, and they have some meetings and so forth. But you see each task has a person or a role. The green is the role, a role attached to it. So weekly schedule is printed and posted or posted electronically, whatever. And that's done by the OMC and the maintenance supervisor. And you have one responsible and one that's just it could be informed in this case. So for example, my idea here, excuse my drawings, but I circled where it says maintenance supervisor. So in my workflow here, I have a number of tasks that actually the maintenance supervisor is supposed to do or responsible in a RACI card chart. Now, if I take all those tasks and list all those tasks as a list, I now get a job description, right? So here's, well, no, this happened to be a planner, sorry. But you get a job description of a planner. You see this is page 1 of 4, and you can get just a list of these are the tasks a planner does, but it also matches the workflow. In this case, should have been a supervisor. I just picked one. I forgot where I was doing. So this is how you can look at the workflow. This is why the workflow is so important, because once you have the workflow down, you have something to follow up upon. If you don't have a very clear, crisp workflow, you're not going to be able to follow up and say, this is what a planner does. You're going to end up in an argument or conversation about, well, who screens work order? Well, anybody can do that. I mean, really? It can't be done that way. We need to have a central point. Otherwise, we can't see which work order is the most important, for example, right?